everybody, and welcome. Hey, guess what? We're rearranging where people are, because I forgot. But don't worry, because it's all sorted. It's done. Yes, and I would have been Gwen or something, maybe. I think I was in court. No, I don't remember where it was. It's fine. But hello, everybody, all you acorns out there. Today is October 11th, 2021, and you are loved. That is a very important thing that we like to remind each and every single one of our viewers and listeners at the beginning of each and every single one of these sessions. If this is your first time joining us, you can go to youtube.com/indooradventures to check up on all of the VODs of each of the games that we have played up until this point, or you can go towards where anywhere audio casts are made available for free. You can find us there under the same moniker. And speaking of things that are being made available for free, if you head on over to patreon.com/indooradventures, you can check up on our after show called Nights in the Courtyard, where we answer questions not only from each other, but also from the community. So if you have any questions for myself or any of these other fine folk, feel free to join us on that Discord. The link can be found in the Twitch chat to the side or in the description of this video or audio cast down below. But if you already support us on Patreon, you already support us on Twitch and YouTube and all of those other wonderful spaces, and you're trying to think to yourself, where can I go to help support this fantastic show even more? Guess what, buddy? I got your back. Quite literally, in fact, because if you go to indooradventure.redbubble.com, we got t-shirts, we got posters, we got mugs, we got crop tops, throw pillows, shower curtains, aprons, clocks, and ever since 2020, it has been a mainstay on the store. That's right, we got Tia masks. We have face masks with the symbol of Tiamat upon them, designed by our very own Cyberwolf 1201, where all of the proceeds of those masks end up going to help support Doctors Without Borders. So if you would like to help support a good cause or possibly help support the show, you can again go to indooradventure.redbubble.com. That is indooradventure, no S at the end, .redbubble.com. But that is it for my opening spiel. So hey, RJ, who you playing today? Hold on. Hold up. My desktop audio does not like this for some reason. We're checking it. Seeing it. Nope. Still doesn't like it. This is great. Riff, hello. I can't. Riffing is hard when okay, you guys try talking again. Let's see it.
Sit back, relax.
There it is.
For a long dose of prolonged eye contact.
You did it.
I did it. Do I do the thing
Introduce yourself!
Hey everybody, it's me, RJ. And I'm playing Caelum, the Shadowkai Wizard. We both go by he, him.
Hi, I'm LBHackEmUp. I'm playing Gwen, the Halfling Barbarian Fighter.
Oi, I'm Cyber. I play Arjhan. He's a draconian dragonborn ranger and cleric. He uses he, him. I use he or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Hi everybody, I'm Wings, also known as Danae Keener. I'm going to be playing as Cori under the Elegant Paladin. I use she, her pronouns. They use she, they, or he. What do I say anything else? God.
No, I think that's it.
So long.
It's been 2
Prolonged
weeks.
eye contact.
And I'm the indoor adventurer, he, him, and tonight I shall be your dungeon master. So, like we have made blatantly aware, abundantly aware as well, it's been about 2 weeks since we last played, so we're going to get a little bit of a recap. So last time we set out on our adventure, you guys started off in the middle of combat with the Archduke Zariel in the plain of Bator. Way down at the very bottom in a Colosseum crafted by none other than Asmodeus himself. It was at that point that you guys were able to actually bloody Zariel, to which she found thrilling, an enthralling match, and that was when Asmodeus really had to, like, call it good. She seemed like she was having too good of a time, and your guys' battle ceased. It was at that point that he handed you a scroll of true binding, so that way you could use that on Caius in the battle to come. That will happen at some point in the future, I'm sure. It was at that point that you all decided, you know what? It's been a good run in the hells. we're getting the fuck out of here. So you then returned back to the prime material plane. There, inside of Gideon, you agreed that the best route, or your best option, the next thing that you were going to go to, was indeed to travel to the Shadowfell in an attempt to fix the Raven Queen, because you were going to need all the help that you were going to get in order to fight against Orcus at some point. Or at least, you know, talk to him, see if he'll just, like, give you Caius's true name. It seems like a super easy thing that your group is capable of doing. At that point, though, because you are gearing up for the next leg of travel, you decided that you were going to go to the Isle of Arathsk in order to speak to one Orillo Thread Twister, as Arjhan was curious about a book that he had read once, in which Orillo described the possibility of meeting variant versions of yourself, something that Arjhan has done himself. After a brief conversation, as well as quite a significant amount of gold that was dropped, you all managed to get everything put together, acquiring armor, potions, weapons, that sort of thing. And last we left our heroes, you were all inside of the Grey Boar Tavern getting some eggy McEggwiches as you prepared to head off towards the Shadowfell. As you may have guessed, viewers and listeners, it is the beginning of a new arc, so our players have freshly leveled themselves to 17. And this is the highest level I've ever DM'd for, so let's just hope that, you know, everything from here on out goes for the best. But you guys are having your dinner. What is the current plan? How are you feeling like you are going to manage to get to said Shadowfell? Thank you so much, Anonymous Gifter, for gifting 5 subs to the community. I don't have anything. Danae, do you have a sound? Do you have a sound thing?
Maybe, perhaps.
I will.
What happens.
I will yowl. Ooh,
There we go.
that's a good one. That's still going. Thank you.
Well, I know whenever Arjhan and Gwen got back, Arjhan has a bag full of goodies to give out to everybody, including some necrotic resistant plate armor and some other things I honestly don't remember. It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was.
I do remember the plate armor.
Levi, thank you so much for gifting even more. You're all so generous.
Should I do it again?
Yes. That's such a deep, resounding one. I like this. Capture that as an MP3.
Well, besides the obvious, do any of us, and this is also to the GM, do any of us actually know of ways to get into the Shadowfell besides just plane shift, which we don't have a tuning fork for?
Magic.
I could banish myself back to the Shadowfell.
You've been there before, right?
Caelum will nod his head.
Anonymous cheerer, thank you. So one thing I would say that you guys wouldn't need to roll on this because you have a level of familiarity. When Caelum and Cori were initially meditating together, and there was a significant problems with crafty ravens stealing certain gemmeries, they always seemed to be going in the same direction, which was towards Ildas, also where the Keepers of the Core and Vision are, in the Rookery of Bone. So, you know, in that general direction, the Raven Queen's agents, or at least her ravens, seem to be drawn towards. You haven't necessarily heard of a set path or passage that leads directly to said Shadowfell, but you know that at least that's where her creatures go. In a way, yeah.
I think Cori will say as much. Back when I was beholden to the Raven Queen, and I was supposed to bring the child to her, she pointed to the Rookery of Bones.
So there's probably some way to get back into the Shadowfell there.
Do we have an option B?
Well, if Caelum's been there before, he should be able to plane shift there. It may not be nearly as direct of a route to the Raven Queen as the Rookery of Bones, or it could be a lot closer. I'm not sure.
The only problem with that, if I plane shift there, we might not even know where the Raven Queen is, and it's not like the locals there are friendly to any capacity, so we can't ask directions. We'd be wandering the Shadowfell for who knows how long.
Right. And time moves differently there.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
A lot about the
Yes,
Shadow.
Indoor, you are
Anonymous cheerers! I keep throwing bits! I love them! I love you all!
They're such spooky little ghosties.
Little ghosty
I love
boys.
them. They're
Aw.
adorable. Halloween, everybody.
You had a thought, Gwen?
Sorry. No, it's gone. I did have a thought. It was, can we do not that? But as long as, if you can, like, not go to the Rookery of Bones, but, like, if we have to, we do. If we don't have to, anything else would be great.
Okay, so this may have been a minute, but why the words? What? Why is Gwen sus about the Rookery?
Because the people who like branched off of my people are over there, and we have like a couple like really bad deserters who are over there now. I don't want to start shit. I don't have to. I feel like as LB, me remembering it, not that this would be an act of war, but probably not a great thing to have the chieftain go hang out with the people who are like, no, fuck that.
So it's not that they are necessarily deserters. That is basically like chieftains have one of two ways that they stop being chieftains. One, they die, or two, they get sent to the Rookery. It is basically
So it's not so much deserters as it is banished.
Yeah. But it can be
Right.
like an act of self-banishment. It can be banishing, like, it's not necessarily a, like, oh, you were an outright dick to the Rookery with
Right.
you. Like, it
This is
can
like
be
a-
that way, but it is more of a, like, imagine like Game of Thrones, the Wall kind of situation. Like, some
Yeah.
people feel called to go there. Others are like, no, I was forced to go here. But once you go to that place, you don't end up meeting Goliaths who then leave.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't there a Goliath there who was like actively recruiting people?
There was not, however, your former chieftain.
Well, my
slash
dad's
yo
there, right?
dad, yeah.
Yeah.
Goliath dad is there.
Oh. What was okay? Maybe I'm remembering incorrectly, but there's the was the white dragon born, the white dragon lady dude there
Thonian?
who was
That's further
was-
north.
no? Okay.
No. So the Jirana and her people came from like way north.
No.
way up
I'm
there.
sorry.
Are you talking
I-
about
I'm-
the like Goliath that had like become part dragon man?
Yes.
Yeah, he
Dragon
was
cult.
he was not, he as a dragon cultist was not part of the Keepers of the Core and the Vision. He was part
was-
of one of the smaller tribes that ended up like becoming dragon cultist and then waging war against your people. So
Wasn't
like
that in the crater?
No, he was
the pit?
near the pit. However, he was part of the Tread Thunder clan. So he was part of what would eventually become LB's tribe, or Gwen's tribe. So his family seen as traitorous. However, it was still one of those things like he was able to challenge the current chieftain, defeated him, did not kill him, but instead sent him to the north.
Okay, is that where he is? He's at the Rookery of Bones?
Yeah, your Goliath Papa, yes. Not the other guy, because you beheaded him and then left his body in the road. Or are you talking about the
Right.
dragon cultist one?
The dragon
Dragon
cultist.
cultist.
They're in the pit.
No one knows what
don't
happened
know.
to them.
Okay.
That's a loose end.
All right. I mean, yeah, no, that's fine if we go over there. It's just we're gonna have to like, we're just gonna have to spend some time with my dad. See, I mean, my other dad. You guys met one of my dads.
Mm-hmm.
I collect dads too.
Yeah.
I've only got one of those.
One of which has been kidnapped. Let's not make light of this.
Fair enough. Sorry, remembering how I'm presenting today.
Do you have all your note cards?
Didn't bring any. Oh god. I'm not
Remember,
prepared.
Cori, if you're nervous, just imagine everyone else naked in the room.
Do you want me to get naked? Would that help?
No, I don't think it will. I
All right.
appreciate your enthusiasm.
Just trying to be a good friend.
Is this going to be a problem for you? I mean, not the nakedness, not the presentation that doesn't exist. Going to the Rookery of Bones, will that be a problem for you specifically?
Oh wow, this went in a totally left. Okay, no, yeah, I'm fine with it.
I'm talking to Gwen. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, it should be fine. There's still people out there who want me dead, I think, but it's fine. I think it should be fine. I can't think of any reason. I haven't been told any reason why it wouldn't be fine.
How's your relationship with your fathers? Good?
Oh yeah, he's chill.
Okay, good.
I mean, it probably sucks that I don't even know if he knows. Dude, I don't even know. He might not even know that I'm chieftain now. He probably knows.
all things considered, the last guy we kind of beheaded and left in the middle of the road, so news of your chieftaindom probably didn't make it up north.
Yeah. It'd be cool, though. It'll be cool to see him and all that.
Interesting thing to learn about.
Yeah. I mean, you know how I'm pretty concise when I tell stories and stuff, so it won't take that long to catch him up.
True. I do remember that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Shadowfell. How do we want to prepare for that?
Well, I picked up this tea set that should help with Shadowfell Despair. Which Cori you want? Or
Of course.
Caelum?
Oh, to carry?
Yeah.
I can carry a tea set. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Carefully packs it away in a already prepared like wicker basket.
Well, in my experience.
Oh, and this armor.
Oh.
Yeet.
What's it do?
It's plate armor of necrotic resistance.
Gives it to Cori. It's a bit too heavy for me, and in my experience, necromantic magic doesn't really affect me as much.
If there is anything else that I bought today, I don't remember it. Besides, like, the thing that I got commissioned.
Yeah, there was a thing you got commissioned, the armor, the tea set, and then I think that was it. We can always go back and listen to the last session as well to find out if there was more, but I don't believe so. You all got... Oh, you guys also got a bunch of diamonds.
I got a
Wow,
shit ton of
You
diamonds.
got a shit ton of diamonds of various cost.
Also, diamonds are a dragon's best friends.
Holy moly.
I thought they made you sick.
Keep those in the bag.
Oh no, diamonds don't make you sick.
No, is it gold? What's the
silver.
dragon sickness?
So
Oh.
They're not eating them.
No,
happens to
no.
anyone who isn't a dragon, right? Am I getting my Lord of the
Dragon
Rings lore mixed up?
cannibalism?
I'm not sure what this is about.
Dragon sickness, you know, like when you get so like money hungry that you like start like freaking out.
Right, there was that
I've
legend
never heard of that.
about a dwarf who was consumed by greed
Yeah,
over a dragon's horde. And
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
really sad because the halfling had to bury him.
How do
Right,
you all
but it
hear
didn't
these
all-
stories?
It also didn't make any sense because like they didn't
I
actually
listen
show
when
the
Gwen
burial.
tells stories.
Oh, is that the same?
Thank you, Cori.
It's in that
out of
same set
character,
of
it's because
sagas.
that's the only Lord of the Rings lore that like Danae can consume because it's intended for children.
Just like Arjhan doesn't know dragon lore.
That's
I'll tell you on the way, okay?
Welcome back, everybody.
Hi. This is good. This is
And then the
healing.
halfling had this acorn that never went to do anything because he said he was going to plant it in his garden. But then you never like the story never ended with him planting it in his garden or anything. So it didn't make any sense why they even included it in the story. I'm just saying it was a lot.
How about that ring that suddenly became very important in the sequel?
Oh, I think that was just a retcon by the author who didn't really know where to take the story.
Incredible. So,
I liked the riddles.
very attractive dwarf was.
I don't know if Arjhan is reacting to this at all.
Arjhan, I think, like, if anything, like, you feel like a warmth in the commissioned piece that you got, and you look down and you see, like, there is a version of you who is just, like, doubled over, like, just blood pouring out of their mouth, like, looks at you, like, make them stop.
This is just the rest of the episode, us trying to like recount the Lord of the Rings in character.
If you don't stop me, I'm gonna start going into Chronicles of Narnia.
Please stop.
You don't want that.
Please stop. Where are we going?
Rookery of
Right.
Bones.
Rookery of Bones.
How do we get there?
Walk. Oh,
Well,
Well-
we are on an island.
Yeah.
We have our
oh
house.
shit, moving around like this really confuses me sometimes because I forget where we are. Like you wake up one place and then you go to sleep and you're someplace else. Like traveling was a lot more like consistent when we couldn't like just blink places. Like I knew where we were because we
Yeah.
fucking took weeks to get there.
It's like,
Sorry, I've had a big day. My belly's full.
yeah, really big boat lag. I understand. To the house, teleport to.
Closest place to Fildas that you were going to find is going to be Hatterai's place.
Yeah, I was about to say.
The Grove of the Hermit.
Scary Forest.
Scary
It
Forest.
got less scary, thanks to you all.
It got better.
All right, so
Can you put map locations into Knights of the Courtyard?
yeah. Map
that we can-
locations are like your house locations.
Yeah, that. Specifically that. Because I would like to open up the map and like put our house locations physically there.
Okay.
I feel like that would help us and that would help the viewers.
Yeah, of course. We can definitely.
And the
do
Rookery
that.
of Bones is, am I remembering it as directly west of Galay or is it near the pit?
So the Rookery of Bones, if you were looking on the map, which was recently posted in our spoiler territory chat on the Discord, it is in Fildas, which is the most northwestern city that is located on the map. It is one where there is a primary river that flows into Galay. If you follow that river into the mountains, you will find Fildas.
All right. We'll pop over to Hatterai's. Well, house Hatterai's, and then make our way north.
Yeah, and all things considered, from Hatterai's place, it's still going to take you at least like a week and a half, possibly 2 weeks of travel to actually get there.
Sweet. Then our ability to remember things will make sense.
Yes. All right. So back into the house you go. And then zoom over to Hotter Eyes. Are you planning on resting there or immediately then just like packing up your stuff, heading north?
What time of day is it?
At this point, it would be in the early evening. Mostly, I mean, you've spent most of your day doing things. You had a big breakfast. You had a big early morning, which was going to the Hells, fighting Zariel, going back home, doing a bunch of shopping, and then like having breakfast for dinner at the Greyboar Tavern. So it'd be early evening, I would say.
Okay. We rest up, head out in the morning then?
Yeah.
Pretty full
Have
day. all
Hot
things
Eye over
considered.
for dinner?
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah. So the house arrives, and coming, and like as you arrive, you can still see the standalone white birch tree that had grown out of Cori's severed arm that had been left there, and it seems that even though it is like early winter or like midwinter at this point, there is snow that's all around all along the ground. There seems to be almost like a ring around where this tree is, and normally the leaves would have fallen, but it seems like it is just staying. It does not seem like it is actually wanting to abide by the standard laws of the seasons, as it were. And when you arrive, you see that Hotter Eye is actually like near the tree itself, and it looks like he has there are parts of the birch bark that have been removed, and you're guessing that he has just been like, what is going on with this tree, as the strange little man that he is. But when you arrive, you see that he is in the process of like, he has a book open, and he is in the process of writing things down while looking at it. And then turns, acknowledges the house, and then sort of like waves to you all through your front window.
Hey, Hotter Eye, do you want some good soup?
And he just says, good soup.
Good soup.
And he closes his book and he begins coming over. And as he gets close, he says, you know, I try very hard to make good soup up here, but I really just don't have the stock to do it. I'm more of like, he, like, motions to himself. I'm sort of like a living skeleton at this point. No, well, you know what I'm saying. I require very little sustenance, but I'm always here for soup. How have you all been, by the way? It's been a while since, well, we were traveling. You left me, and then came back for me, and then dropped me off here. It's good to see you, Caelum.
Hi, Hotter Eye.
Yeah, house travel's wild, isn't it?
I love this house, Gideon. You are a delight. Thank you, Resident Hotter Eye. It remembers who I was.
Hey there, Hotter Eye, put her there. Just like goes up to him, shakes his hand, attaches his arm in his hand.
Just, he like looks at it, looks at you, and just, well, this is new.
Sort
He
of wiggles the
shakes
eyebrows
it.
a little bit. Takes
This-
it back from him.
Your more presentable form? Not that you weren't presentable before, but you look
I
good.
like to shake it up a little every now and then.
It's not
How's
bad.
the old arm tree doing? Just kind of like,
I have been wondering that myself. It seems like it is resistant to everything that's been going on. I've been watching this tree for quite some time now. Well, since I was dropped off, really. It's something to do out here, something to
Just-
occupy the time.
all this time?
Well, not all this time. Because I was helping Caelum research Corvain. And And then I believe you told me to stop researching Corvain?
Yeah, I found his body.
Oh! What was the plane like? What was the plane of negative energy like? Wow, how did you
Horrifying.
get there? Really? How so?
Caelum launches into the explanation that the first time he entered the plane of negative energy was through backtracking through a past life in his memories, but then he still suffered the ill effects of it. And also, if you visit the negative energy plane in your dreams, you still generate a Nightwalker.
Odorai like nods his head and shrugs his shoulders, like obviously that would be the case.
Cori's gonna kind of like, still holding their like prosthetic arm in their other hand, like use the prosthetic arm to sort of pat him on the back and then go and check out the tree.
I also would like to check out the tree.
Yeah.
But I also think that Arjhan would have started the soup. And so we'll just like leave it
Yes.
as he goes.
Okay.
Gwen is just enthralled in this conversation between these two people who don't realize how like close together they are as far as like what they are. And she's just like watching them as they go back and forth in this conversation.
Like just like weird brainy boys kind of thing? Or
No,
like...
they're both basically liches.
Oh, well, one is an actual lich and Hadorai's just skinny. And also sustained by pure shadow.
Yeah, that part is what I was
They
talking.
can, like, eat or sleep.
He forgets.
Do you mind? Cal?
Yeah, so Hadorai and Caelum are talking. Gwen is just like, my god. There's 1 foot from the grave, the both of them. Arjhan, you are making good soup? Or did you like bring it to a nice like simmer? It's got to sit for a little bit and then going to investigate tree with Cori.
Leave it to simmer, go in a tree.
Okay.
Are you wearing the apron?
Yes.
Excellent.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
All right, so Arjhan with apron and Cori, who's still just like swinging your prosthetic arm, I guess.
Just like holding it over their shoulder, goes to examine the tree.
Yeah, and when you approach this tree, the both of you feel that as soon as you pass by the barrier where there is like the snow just doesn't seem to be wanting to get close to it, that there is an aura about this place. The two of you would recognize this as somewhat consecrated ground. It seems like this is generally a holy place of sorts. And looking at this tree and getting near it, it has been grown out of an arm. That is known to the two of you. But as you look at it, comparatively to all of these other trees, it does look like it is reaching past, trying to grow itself past the canopy to become a tree that you have seen almost similar in size to those from the Feywild. It wants to be this way, but it is almost stunted with its own growth by trying to reach that high. Almost like it needs more nutrients. It needs more about it in order to become that tree. And it has that intention. It has the almost like if this tree could have a desire. That is what you feel from it, that it wants to become something bigger than it is.
Cori's going to do a quick shift to spring form.
Okay.
And then just sit down in front of the tree. Put that prosthetic limb in their lap, and they're just going to commune with it for a bit. And over the course of the next 8 hours, Cori will go ahead and cast plant growth, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And try and give it that extra oomph that it needs.
Sounds good. So Cori, that is what you were doing in Arjhan. Yeah, you are also familiar with these kinds of consecrated places. You don't necessarily get the same sense like this tree wants to grow. Like you don't have that same connection to nature, but you are still able to recognize a holy place when you see it. And this definitely feels like there is this temple that has been in disrepair and broken lying next to it for so long that there has been like the ground is ripe for this kind of thing. This is almost like a viable religious marketplace. Like there is like a vacuum that needs to be filled in this place, and this tree is happy to be there as the vacuum for this thing.
I would very much like to know if there is anything that is currently attempting to assert its influence on this place through the tree. Whether that is the entity that the original temple was consecrated for, or something new. That also might be like trying to, do a little bit of influence on this tree.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of ways to do that, except for primeval awareness,
Okay.
I guess, which would just tell me if there are celestials in the area.
Okay, and primeval awareness, is it like a full check, kind of like a divine sense, or are you like specifying celestial?
Just all of them.
Okay, all of them.
I can expend one ranger's spell slot to sense whether any aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fey, fiends, or undead are present within 1 mile.
Okay.
It does not reveal the creature's location or number. It does not specify if I would know one or the other.
So you do, like, your primeval awareness does fire off, but it doesn't, like, so you don't know like which one of those it is, but you do know that one of them is doing the thing. Yeah, that is, you are definitely getting that. Make a religion check or an insight check. Either one would work fine here.
I'll do insight. 5.
5? Okay. Yeah, with this, you aren't sure the like grand scale alignment of this thing, but you do know that there is something that does have, or is wanting to have, at least some form of influence with this tree. It doesn't seem like it is coming from the church. It seems like it is almost coming from the tree itself.
It bothers me, but I don't have anything else that I can do here, so I'm gonna go make soup.
Okay. Yeah, so you go back inside, and Hadorai and Caelum, I feel, are still just like in the throes of just like, and that's how this plane works. Like they're just like rambling. Gwen, the conversation has been lost on you now for quite some time, but it's like you're doing your best.
So, if anything, if you really, really want to mess with someone, take them to the plane of positive energy, heal them. The excess positive energy just makes them explode.
Oh, but okay.
Fascinating.
Oh, thank God. Hello.
Hello. Tree outside, maybe conduit for God. I don't know.
Which one?
I legitimately don't know.
Oh, okay.
That would explain why it doesn't want to wilt.
Should we go talk to it?
I think Cori is currently communing with it.
If you are going to talk to it, Could you not mention me at all?
That is something that you will need to discuss with Cori.
Do you feel like if the tree can talk, it will be mad that I took some samples for purely scientific purposes?
Did you harm it?
Depends on what you mean by harming a tree. I didn't cut into it.
Did you
take
drive a
some of its
nail
bark.
into it?
No. I did find like places where the bark was a little looser and just sort of.
I mean, that's typically fine.
Okay.
Do trees even have nerve endings? Can plants feel pain?
Yes, they can.
Really?
Yes.
I thought the Scientologists believed that, and that wasn't real.
I don't know what a Scientologist is. However, there are things like mushrooms, for example. If you find it's, I believe, near the gated glen, there's an area miles wide that's all just one massive mushroom colony. Just every mushroom that you find is actually like underground, deep-seated, running through it. They're all connected, that sort of thing. That runs with the standard, like, mycelium endings of the fungi. Those are all connected. So theoretically, if one were to, say, awaken one of those plants, you would have a monster on your hands. But also, that monster would know the pain of every mushroom in the general area.
Gwen pulls up a chair, like while he's having this rant. She pulls up a chair, steps up on it, and just puts her hand on his mouth.
And oh, okay, this is new.
No. Goodbye. Hops down, goes outside.
Arjhan is being very careful not to bleed in the soup that he is preparing.
Blood soup.
I mean,
It's a thing.
that
I actually like blood soup.
Knights of the Courtyard, that one. I have questions, and we need to move on from this scene. So, Arjhan, what kind of soup do you make? The good kind.
it is a good kind. I think it's going to be it's going to be a beef broth start with a lot of garlic, a lot of meat, and other veggies being thrown in. It's a good soup.
Yeah.
Very
Hunter
savory.
stew.
This is honestly like Hadorai is so happy to have this soup. This is like the first like level of flavor that he has had in quite some time. He's loving this. He goes back for seconds even. Everything goes by without a hitch, obviously, through the night. Cori is staying outside to continuously cast plant growth until the morning.
8 hours.
8 hours. Yep. So because it was
So
early
that'll be-
evening, you'll get done at like 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
3 in the
Then
morning.
spend the rest of the night trancing.
Okay.
Just don't even
We-
move from the tree. Stay in that
We bring
general
out
area.
soup.
Give you something to nibble on while you're focusing on growing this tree. Gwen and
Gwen falls
Caelum
asleep in the tree.
in the
Aw.
tree, like you climb up into it.
Yeah. So in the morning, I'm much further off the ground than I was before.
Yes. So Gwen, you fall asleep in the tree. Caelum, are you just like hanging out with Hadorai tonight? Are you like working on anything?
He'll hang out with Hadorai. I wanted to finish up the Brooch of Shielding
Okay.
because I'm one check off from that, and I did get a 68.
Yeah, you'll be able to finish that this evening.
Cool.
Yeah, and Cori, when you finish your plant growth spell, it's pretty late in the evening. Gwen has like climbed up into the tree. And you're kind of chuckling to yourself a little bit because it is quite a decent bit bigger. Like the tree itself, birch trees aren't known for being very they aren't known for being very wide. But at this point, this birch tree is about the size of an oak tree. It has a much rounder base. The branches are actually more sprawling. It seems like a much more full-bodied tree than it was before. As well as like the grass around you is luscious. There are flowers that should not be blooming this time of season, and you almost feel bad because, it's going to be cold. And it might not last super long, but, like, that's fine. But all things considered, this general area looks fine. And again, it is very warm inside of the area of this tree, even though it is rather cold outside.
And all plants within a half-mile radius are enriched for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Haha.
Which is great, because Hadarai had a little food garden that he was struggling with.
Oh, it's going to yield twice the normal amount of food.
Sweet, so a regular amount of food.
Yeah. There you go, Hadarai.
He's a man of science, not gardening.
Gardening is science, damn it!
Yeah, the expert on gardening is dead.
He's having a time. He's having a rough day. So
It's more bark than his bite.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
that part of this plant growth spell has been basically Cori communing with the tree and calling to the piece of it that was once a part of her. And they're just going to, I don't know, like, the way that like a tree like has concentric rings inside it, and it
Yeah.
kind of like tells you like you can look at the rings and like know like whether or not it was a hard year for that tree. Cori, you can basically read its story in those rings. Through this plant growth spell, Cori is sort of reminding the tree where it came from and who they are, and putting their own story into it.
Yeah. No, and as you were putting in your story into this tree, the one thing that had not been present here before is that you are watching the root system of this tree just begin to kind of course through the surrounding area. It's not going to be like the whole half mile, obviously, but you are seeing those roots take place. And from points on these roots, you actually start seeing little saplings of other birch trees beginning to grow as well.
Yeah, Cori sort of looks up at Gwen up in the tree branches, sort of smiles to themselves, and then sits down now with their back to the tree, and will trance for their 4 hours.
Okay. And Cori, as you come morning, when you have finished trancing, you can see that there are what look like incredibly small humanoids that are almost like transparent, that seem to have what look to be like almost little wooden masks that have sort of like coupled up around you, almost like they are trying to keep warm.
Did I make babies? Are these my babies?
Gwen?
That's not in character. That's out of character. Babies?
Gwen, in the tree branches above, there is what looks to be like a green thing that is like hanging off of one of these branches that looks maybe like the size of a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
Ugh. The fuck is that? I'm gonna touch it.
You touch it and it sort of like shakes a little bit.
Cori, are you awake?
I'm always awake.
There's
I
green
don't
bread
see-
in this tree.
like moment of silence as Cori's eyes stay closed for, just like long enough to try and process that. And it's all like, okay, this is worth opening my eyes for. Bread doesn't grow on trees.
That's why I'm confused.
Cori presenting female this morning.
Back in spring form, autumn form?
Still in spring form for now.
Okay. Yeah, and Cori, the little spirits that were next to you just seem to disperse and scatter as you stand up and you look at Gwen. And Gwen, do you try and like pop?
I'm not gonna pick it. Yeah, but I'm not gonna pick it, but I will climb up to it so I can get a better look.
Okay. Yeah. So, looking at it, you can see that it almost looks like almost like a pea pod, but that has like, it's like full on the bottom, but then there's like a seam along the top. But the thing is that instead of it having that bean style texture around it, it almost has it almost has the same kind of feel that like a large leaf would have.
I take it back. Loaf of bread is not a good description of this. I would say it's more like a large peanut pod.
Peanuts.
Gwen's gonna pick it because Gwen is not me, and Gwen would pick it.
Okay. So Gwen, you pop this loaf down. And as you have it in your arms, the top part, like that seam atop the bean, splits open. And there is what looks to be a small sleeping child inside. Their skin is green. Their hair looks like it is made of leaves. And they are sound asleep.
Gwen makes a lot of gestures with one hand as she holds the thing, and then it's like,
how big
like,
is it? Is it
It's
like
about the size of a loaf of bread.
like a bread box? It's the size of a bread box.
Close.
So like an actual
The
baby.
size of a
It
baby.
looks like the size of a baby. Yes.
Gwen then takes this child, puts it up against herself, and starts climbing down with one hand, very frantically and like carefully. And she gets down to the bottom, and she's like,
Oh, that's
"What
a
did
cute
you
baby.
do?"
That's a cute baby. Whose is it? Did you find it in the tree?
It was growing in the tree. Cori, did you make a baby?
Oh. Maybe.
Is this how elves are made?
And Cori, make a perception check. Perception or Arcana.
Oh boy. I'm going to perceive, I think. Perceiving is better. I'm better at that. 24.
24. Looking at this small sleeping child inside of this bean pod, you can see that they have almost like wooden textured skin.
Mm-hmm.
And their hair, again, is made of leaves. This is not an elven baby. This is a small dryad.
Oh. So, like, probably would be a bad idea to move it away from the tree.
Seems like it would be, knowing what you know about dryads and their connection to said tree, it might be a bad idea to take the baby very far away from this place.
Okay. Could I hold them?
Do you know how to hold a baby, Cori?
Thankfully, it is in a wonderful
Yeah.
pod.
I have to admit, there are not a lot of babies in the Feywild. Elves have very few children. But like this, right? Like this?
Yes, just let me, yes. Okay, yeah, but just don't, not too much movement, and she'll like put the baby in her arms. Did you make a baby? Is this an elf and you made it?
No, I didn't make the baby. Obviously, the tree made it.
Yeah, you're right. I'm so sorry. The tree made it. How? Yeah. What a
tree
conclusion I should have come to.
The tree seems, when you say the tree made the baby, the leaves and branches seem to rustle on an unknown wind in an almost happy fashion.
Aw. It's a proud parent right there. Just sort of like tweak the bark on the tree a little bit. Cori will just sit down and hold the baby for a while. Just like, yay!
Hey, good morning, guys. Is that a baby?
Yes, hold on. Gwen like turns and just Arjhan starts going into the house.
I feel like Gwen, you're about to yell, and then you're like, right, baby, fuck. And like, have to, like...
Bust through the door. Arjhan. Arjhan!
Whatever this is, can it wait until the coffee finishes being poured?
You're like,
Cori
the
made-
cup is like half full.
Gwen sits there with her hands like pressed together until the cup is full. Cori made a baby with a tree.
Okay. I'm coming out. I'm happy coming out day. Let's see.
Happy coming out day, everyone.
Let's see what the fuck just happened.
Yeah, so, Arjhan, you exit the house. Caelum, you are like making your way over to this tree as well, this very happy tree. And Cori is just there with like what looks like a large bean that then you see a small hand made of green wood just sort of like come out and like baby grab into the air and then just like retracts back into their bean pod.
Do I understand what this is?
Arjhan, make an insight check.
$11. I'm going to change my dice.
Okay. Don't forget your blood die. Looking
I
at
just
this-
had coffee. I did not pour the blood yet.
Gotcha. Looking at this and thinking about yesterday,
Coffee before blood.
where
Oh,
you were
sorry.
getting like a Fey style feeling from this tree, you might get the you might put that together that somehow those two things are correlated. Especially with Cori giving it the overgrowth overnight, because this tree is a lot bigger than it was yesterday as well.
Gwen found a baby!
Caelum is crouched closer to inspect the child. I'd like to see the baby.
I would like to see the baby.
So grabby, look at that.
Yeah, and
Huh.
the four of you looking in, it looks again like this small bundled creature is made of wood. I would say general knowledge, especially sharing information between the four of you, you would understand that this is a very, very young dryad.
Yeah, we should probably not be at least even this far away from the tree.
Yeah. Okay. Was this a byproduct of the plant growth? Was it conjured here by the tree? Are we just spontaneously generating life?
All very good questions. That I
Is
do
this our
not
baby
know the
now?
answers to.
Do we have to take care of this baby now?
Oh heavens no, we can't take care of the baby.
As you
We
say,
you
die
can't.
every other week.
As you say this, Cori, there is a voice that sounds like an exclamation of joy coming from inside the abandoned temple. You'll never believe it. The potatoes that I had planted, they've come in full. What is that? And Harurai just like pauses and then looks at the weird baby, looks at the tree. It was purely research. I didn't know that you were alive.
Oh my god,
Harurai!
oh my
I'm
God!
saying, remember what we talked about at dinner?
I'm not sure I follow.
Harurai, you made the tree baby?
No! And his face is like, he doesn't have a whole lot of like blood, but his face is as beet red as mine is right now. No! I did not. No! Gross.
Harurai. Does your research contain anything on, say, Dryads or anything related to the Fae?
Fae? Yes. Dryads, I could possibly do some research on. I was thinking it was a Fae thing because it came from your friend's arm. Cori is a Fae. That was my guess, going about it. I didn't know what was happening. And he points over at Gwen. The answer is still no. Did not do anything to that tree. You asked if I nailed it last night, and I still told you no.
Okay, so the tree is Fae in nature because it was made from Cori's arm. This is a Dryad, which comes from trees that is made from Cori's arm. Cori, this is your baby.
Either a baby or a sister.
A twin?
Wouldn't
Oh.
be. Could be.
Right, budding.
A clone?
No.
Just
And as you were all saying this, Cori, you look down and it does kind of look like you. Like you've seen like child pictures of yourself.
Huh. I think my parents are going to want to hear about this.
Yeah. You should. Do you want to send a to your dad?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Before we get too far into this, Cori, anyone, the baby, right? This life that is in front of us, cannot be taken away from the tree. How does one raise a tree baby? And what do we need to do to protect this innocent creature that is in our arms?
Well,
I mean,
Fresh
do we know
soil.
anything- Oh,
Water.
plenty of sun.
Sunlight.
essentially, as long as the tree isn't harmed, the baby's like still vulnerable, but the tree will provide.
So we just leave the baby with the tree to protect it.
Yes. And all things considered, I mean, I live right here. I can protect a tree. A baby, I'm not... I've never done that one before. Never had to protect a child. I mean, there were students, but they were not babies.
Now my parents basically have to join, or rather visit the natural plane. There's no reason not to.
Harurai, do you know of anybody who might know a little bit more about Dryads that may want to assist in this?
Well, there's the Fae over in the Hollow Locks.
Is that far?
The Hollow
That's pretty
Locks,
far.
A little bit to the south, a little bit to the east. It's closer than it is far.
That was also, I
Just on the
believe-
other side of that lake.
I believe that was also one of your teleport points.
Yep.
Do we need to jump back to the Hollow Locks and find a babysitter?
A babysitter.
A babysitter. Oh my god.
Okay, Okay.
So here's my out of character question. Is this how dryads are normally born? I mean, like, obviously not the arm tree thing, but like, are they baby first? Do they baby? Or are they sprung fully formed?
It really depends on the tree that creates them. They are a product of the tree itself, so it is determinate on the age of that tree. However, you would guess that if you were to do another like plant growth or anything like that, this small child would probably grow in accordance with this tree as well.
All right. Dryads can just go back into their trees, right?
Yeah.
All right. Cori's gonna kind of like walk up to the tree, sort of hold the baby. It's like, anybody want to hold him?
Sure.
Cori will pass the baby over to Caelum.
Okay, just make sure you support the head. There, you got it.
I know. I watched over the Goliath kids when I was over there.
I know. I just want.
I was like, also a freaking nursemaid.
in the
help-
Goliaths.
I helped deliver some babies
Oh,
in the
right,
black
right,
camp.
right.
You
God, that was so long ago.
oh, there's an actual word for that. Nursemaid means something different.
No,
wet nurse.
Wet nurse. No, wet nurses. Wait,
No, wet nurse is the thing that I
Wet nurse
was
is a
thinking
different
about.
thing.
Midwife.
midwife. Thank you.
With mid. Yes. So yeah, Caelum, as you are looking at said babu as well, they sort of like give a big old baby yawn and like stretch them arms and then just like curl back up. They're tired.
It's time to be born.
I think we are fully past that.
And Caelum, as you continue to look down, his little mouth just, I mean, like its small little eyes open. And you can see that it just has like these amber colored eyes looking back at you.
Pulls out a water skin, gently pours.
Aw.
When
like
done, on shoulder, pat, 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 small burp.
Gwen completely has the baby crazies right now. She's just like, I want one so bad.
Philip!
Yeah, when we're done saving the world, I'm gonna have like 6 children. That's all I want right now.
Yeah.
Well, oops.
It's a happy accident.
That's what my dad said.
That's what a famous painter once said. There's no mistakes, just happy accidents.
Okay, so we're just gonna put this dryad back in the tree.
That's why we want to hop over to the Hololocks, but we really... I feel like we should probably stop putting off going to the Shadowfell.
Yeah, I guess.
Hadarai's eyes get wild and he says, if you're going to the Shadowfell, can you bring me back something?
Oh! Caelum goes into his bag and pulls out a moon rock and hands it to Hadarai.
What is this?
It's not from the Shadowfell.
It's from the moon.
What?
Yeah.
He's like, just so like, what? It's moon.
Don't worry, I've tested it already. It is not cheese.
Is there air just like everywhere? I always thought that there was like a point that you reached in height where it like stopped.
Well,
Or just kept going.
deities are real and some of them make their home on the moon.
I was going to say there's a moon god, but of course there is. There are several. I just didn't think, I thought it was more of a like, they would watch over it from afar and not like, oh yeah, I built my cabin up on
She's
there.
hot and she's naked all the time.
Noted. I don't know what to do
Would
with that
recommend.
information.
10 out of 10. I'm
What?
just
She made Cori's sword.
You all lead very peculiar and
What do you want from the
interesting lives.
Shadowfell?
A book? If you can find a neat book, or a fun thing like a trinket, souvenir. I'm not really picky. I just kind of like I like it. It seems neat. I'm
Okay.
looking after your baby.
Well, here's money for pizza. Our number's on the fridge.
Shit. Okay, Arjhan's digging through the funds.
I got it.
Again,
He pulls out a gold ingot worth 250 gold pieces.
Hadara just looks at it. Just,
This should be a good enough trust fund, right?
I think we will send this one to college with this.
No,
No,
we won't.
you won't.
No, it's a figure of speech.
Well,
Obviously,
And
you can't
bring
take
also-
college here?
No, because Vascor's actually been destroyed.
I'm sorry.
Oh shit, he doesn't know.
Would you kindly rewind a little bit? I need to sit down. And he just falls backwards.
Oh, buddy.
Oh, right, he was a teacher from there.
Worms popped out of Vascor, blew up the moon. It got better.
And from
most
his
people-
on back position, this is the greatest day of my life.
Did we tell you last time that the Earth is round?
Yes, no, you told me that
good.
one.
Just making sure.
Also, absolutely wild, but he like sits up on his arms and says, "You don't understand. They banned me from teaching there. If everyone there isn't around anymore,
Some of them still are.
Establishment
I
is
apologize
gone.
if you can hear magic coughing in the background.
Oh, baby.
Aw.
But if some of them still are, but most of them aren't, that means that there might be a few who do not remember what I did. And I could go back to teaching, although I could also just start a school here. Maybe. Once, of course, the Dryad is not a baby and all of that jazz.
See if they have any like remote positions. open.
Exactly. Or make like a new campus, something like a new school or something similar.
I'm sure there'll be Fae from the Hollow Locks who want to commute.
That's not exactly my specialty area of teaching, but I'm sure I could at least have like a base curriculum for
I
them
think you're
anyways.
going to need to learn a whole lot more about the Fae, because this place is going to get a whole lot more Fae.
That's great. Fantastic. All of the years I've
Gently
spent.
push that baby back into the tree.
And as like the baby is pressed up against the tree, you can see that like the bark sort of like moves aside, and the fibers in the tree also seem to sort of just separate themselves into what looks like a cozy nook. And then when the baby is put in, then the bark just sort of like covers over it again.
I should probably call my father.
Is your father a man of science and magic?
He can be a man of many things.
I don't know how to take that. However,
Yeah, that was a
Yes.
little weird. That was a weird way to say it, Cori.
Jack of all trades.
that's a better one. Perhaps if he is looking for a teaching position as well in the future, he and I could do that thing. I don't look.
Laurel gets to
It
have
really
two dads.
fell.
Between you and me, I turned into a sperm whale and hit the giant orb that kept all of the castles in flight.
When you say you turned into a giant sperm whale, look of concern. When you say that you destroyed all of the floating buildings, a very like, like, yeah, fuck those guys kind of look appears on Hadarai's face.
They did fall on the rest of the town underneath. It was very bad. It was quite the tragedy. It was not good, Arjhan.
No.
In fact, it was bad.
I'm sure it was terrible. Absolutely the worst.
So many people died.
It's terrible that.
We really need to be going.
Well, if there is anything that I can do to assist you in your travels, please let me know. Otherwise, I have to get much better at taking care of plants in a much shorter period of time. If not, this seems like as good a place as any to go on break. So, when we come back, we will figure out the direction that we are headed, but we are going to try and return in 5 to 10 minutes, so don't go no place unless it's to grab a food, grab a drink, grab a friend, or possibly go to indooradventure.redbubble.com, pick yourself up something nice, and we'll see you guys shortly. All right, everybody. See you soon. And we're back.
Steven,
Yes.
how did the Dryad baby know that she was ready to be born?
How?
She was running out of womb. If nobody else comes up with anything, it's shitty
great
jokes. That's
joke,
what I got.
Ethan. That's incredible. It's up here now. It is.
So it was time to leave.
Wow. Y'all are
Where the
great.
matter is,
Fantastic. LB, you got one? Before I start,
No.
before I try and roll
No, I
back
don't.
in? Okay, cool.
No, I know. I'm sorry. I'm not that punny.
They don't
That's
spawn
okay.
that far from the tree.
And with that, we're back. Hello, everybody, and welcome. We have just received a Dryad baby that we immediately put back in the tree that we found it on, and we are going to the Rookery of Bones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Filled us? Yes. Filled us.
I sent my dad a letter letting him know that there's a Dryad baby.
Okay. Totally
And-
reasonable.
And we start walking.
All right. Yep. There are, you do not have any animals or any such thing that will help you, I don't believe, as all of your steeds you left out at the Goliath tribe some time ago. So it begins the long, arduous process. I would say for this, let's make a group survival check, as the travel time could be anywhere between, looking at it, if you're traveling on foot, we had said possibly a week and a half to 2 weeks. So let's just see what the extent of this travel is. So if I could get a round of survivals from folk.
– 11.
Okay.
dirty 20.
9.
Sorry. Roll 20 is being very slow.
You're using roll 20? The absolute mad lad.
Oh, I'm sorry. D&D Beyond. There we go. Survival. +6. Go. 24.
Okay. So, yeah, it is going to take around the 2-week mark to actually get up there. Along your travels, you do meet some traders, people who are just sort of fishing along the river. And what you know about this river specifically is that this, as well as several of the offshoots, are known colloquially as the Tears. When you ask why, most of the individuals that you meet along your travels will shrug. Some of them will will say, oh, it's the Tears of the Mountain from the olden times. But one individual lets you know that at the Rookery of Bones, similar to other places that you have been, there are the remnants of some of these ancient titans that are there. And it seems like the water spring that actually comes and creates this river, that creates this tributary, comes from the eye socket of one of these incredibly large titan skulls. So It is known as the Tears. It takes you a while, obviously, to get to this point as you're making your way north. But again, following the river, knowing where it goes, makes things a lot easier in terms of direction. When you are about, I want to say, like, you've been traveling now for close to about 2 weeks. And is there anything that you would like to be doing during this travel time? Just as a general slot, any conversations that need to be had, any of those kinds of things?
Whenever we do get to the river, just to check, I would like to do primeval awareness.
Yeah.
It's just specifically whenever I like finally see the Tears in sight, just to see if there's like anything happening with it.
There does not seem to be anything odd happening with this river.
Okay.
Thankfully. And then, like, even if you check back in, like, every couple of days, there doesn't seem to be much of anything. It seems like this is sort of barren land. You do meet, like, a few, like, almost like homesteads along the way. Like, there are a few people who, or like a few families that have just sort of, like, built a home near the river and they're quote unquote getting by. But they don't seem to pay you too much mind. Being that you are all heavily weaponed and walking with a purpose, they do not want to try and fucks with you in any regard. So your travel is not impeded. When you're going through this forest, it is a deciduous forest. It is full of these very fierce looking pine trees that don't look like they have been messed with forever. They're old, they are ancient, and they grow tall, which makes things both difficult in terms of traveling through, because pine trees and a lot of other trees, if you do not like make sure to prune them towards the bottom, they just get incredibly wide, and it doesn't look like many people actually travel north of here. Thankfully, because you are traveling along the river, it makes your route a little bit easier because trees don't tend to grow into said river. Every once in a while, you have to overcome some logs, that sort of thing, that have fallen due to heavier snowfall, but not too difficult. Also, you have cold weather gear, so it's not like the cold is even a real issue for you all anyways. But as you are continuing up this river, you see a break in the woods, and from roughly, I want to say close to around like 5 miles away at the very edge of your field of vision on this mountain range, you can see again what looks like the visage of a massive skull that is just embedded in one of these mountains. Compared to other Titan pieces that you have seen before, the notable thing about this one specifically is that there does look to be like a large horn that seems to be growing out of its skull. And like most people have seen and said along your way, coming from the right eye socket is just a waterfall that seems to be free-flowing down into a larger pool that then would connect. You don't see the pool 5 miles away, but you're guessing that that's where it goes from said waterfall. You also see what could be construed as massive trees. But as you get closer, you see that these trees do not have any branches upon them, but instead they look like they are almost bleached white, and you realize that this is a massive rib cage that just seems to be set in the mountainside. It looks like out of all of the bones that have been seen from the Titans, this is the most preserved place. And as you get closer, you can start seeing that there are charms, there are effigies, there are pieces of stuff that just seem to be hanging upon these trees, almost like in the same way the tribe in the north had kind of set up wards, these almost seem to be similar in nature, but you aren't getting the same kind of magical read. These almost seem like they were put there more out of ceremony and offering versus any kind of like magical practice, any kind of magical ward. And as you approach this incredibly large rib cage, you can start seeing what looks like, it's almost like there are small holes that appear throughout these ribs. And you start seeing that there are birds that are actually flying in and out, almost as if they have carved out these small homes for themselves within the bones themselves. Approaching Fildos, you can see that they have a like a wooded wall around their town, and the gate is open. And there seems to be at least some walk-in leading towards there. Although as you get to it, you don't see very many people about. There aren't many Goliaths like you had thought that there would be initially, and there aren't anyone else, really. There's no humans, there's no halflings, there's no traders. Seems like everyone is sort of gone.
Like, we don't see a lot of people, or we don't see any people.
You don't see anyone. You see that there are ravens that are kind of flying above, and you see that they have like, with the ravens as they fly, some of them, a good number of them, rather, have congregated towards the, what you could only guess is the far end of town.
Why don't I jog on ahead?
Why don't you not?
Well, and they're gonna recognize me before they recognize any of you guys. No offense, Arjhan, Arjhan, but sometimes our people aren't, super excited about dragon people. Remember?
Don't go too far.
I won't. Do you want me to leave Grayskull with you?
Sure.
Okay. I can't move more than 30 feet away from Grayskull, so
Yeah.
Gwen is gonna summon my best friend, my best non-living friend, and start jogging on ahead of the group, keeping that distance, but like keeping an eye out, looking up, trying to figure out the fuck is going on. I'm wondering, would it be a smart idea for Gwen to do a Goliath call in here?
It might be. You know that if there were Goliaths, they would most likely respond to such a thing.
And do I know enough about the makeup of the people who live here to know if, like, that's a significant amount of people, or, like, just there's, like, a few?
You're guessing that, like, you've never been here before. This is a place that, like, again, people don't really go to because you don't really leave. But you're guessing that from what you've heard from Chua, there's maybe, and you could have at least, like, spoken with Chua on the way of, like, hey, have you heard anything about this place? Because I'm heading there right now. And she would let you know that there are roughly anywhere at any time between, say, like 80 to 120 Goliaths that live here. It's not densely populated by any means, but there are still a sizable number of them who live here. Again, most of them are chieftains. Most of them are individuals who have been sent to this place or left on their own accord. But this isn't a place that you would necessarily expect to greet you with open arms.
Right. Okay. Gwen is going to do a Goliath call,
Okay.
as they do on the plains when they're trying to locate each other.
Okay.
Basically a haka.
Yeah. Roll. No, I'm not even gonna have you roll for this one. You're fine. As you shout out this haka, you see that one of the buildings that is along this stretch opens, and you see a Goliath figure that has what looks like ash that has been spread across their eyes in a raven wing style. They also look like there is like 3 fingers of ash that has been pulled down from their lower lip to their jaw to create almost like a skull face style face paint. It's not necessarily corpse paint, but it definitely has like a more skull look to them. And they have a torch in their hand, and they look at you, and they sort of like tilt their head a little bit, and they say to you in Giant, why have you come here? Not as a like,
Gwen...
why have you come to this place? But just like, what?
Why are you here?
Why is one so small in a place such as this?
Gwen will respond in Giant and say, I've come here because my friends and I seek passage to the Shadowfell. I also am a member of the Tread Thunder clan, and I seek to sort of speak with Volgar.
And the individual nods and says for you to follow. Volgar, your passage, and all other questions will be answered.
Okay. I have 3 companions, and she like waves everybody up. They all have what's a good way to put this? They are all welcome within the Tread Thunder clan. They are not members.
And they nod and say, do you stake your clan on their honor?
Gwen stops and looks at her friends. Yes, I do.
They nod. And then
she turns back to the group. Fucking behave yourselves, okay?
Yeah, Gwen, you get the idea from this dude that he is basically saying, if your friends act up, you're staying here.
Yeah.
And then he again turns, and he's wearing normally the Goliaths wear like cold doesn't really bother them. They're built for more like northern areas. But he seems to be wearing what looks like almost a half cloak made of raven feathers. And he puts his hood up, and it has almost like a bird-like visage on the front, almost like not like a raven skull necessarily, but it is built to be similar to that. And he leads you down a passageway, and as you do, he leads you closer to the swarm of ravens. And when you arrive at this place, it is at the edge of a walkway that looks like a bridge that has been broken. And you now know where the town is. And the members of the town are here, many of them wearing the same garments, many of them also holding torches. and upon a wooden structure, they're Goliaths, it would be a stone structure, that is set up along the edge where this broken bridge is. You can see that across the way leads into what would appear to be a cavern. But where this bridge ends, you can see that there is just a fissure that is in the ground, just a large chasm. Atop of this stone structure, you see a old Goliath. You see a Goliath who is wizened beyond their years. They have crow's feet. They look like their eyes are just completely faded out. And there is a sense of serenity that they have about them. And there is another Goliath that stands next to them, who says in Giant, "On this day, we send one of our lost to return." And there's like a fluttering sound from the group of Goliaths that are here as their raven half-cloaks flutter. And this wizened Goliath, with absolute serenity, a peace that you have never seen before, jumps. And he falls into the chasm. The rest of the Goliaths take turns bringing their torch over to the chasm, and one by one, you hear them say, in Giant, "May the light lead your way." And they drop their torch. Then the next one, "May the light lead your way," drops torch.
Is this a known tradition? Like Gwen has heard of?
Gwen, you have not seen this tradition before. You are not used to the burial practices here. In fact, you've never heard the burial practices up here. It seems like the people in this place don't actively like, "Oh, hey man, I went to the funeral the other week. It's fucking bonkers." Like,
Yeah.
It's like this is not something that is actively bespoke among the
I
giants.
can't believe you just midsommar'd me.
Quinn, what the fuck?
I don't know, and we're not going to react to it because this might be just how they do things here. In Giant, you said you were taking me to Vulgar?
And at that, the individual nods and motions with two fingers over towards what looks to be the fifth individual who has thrown a torch. As they turn around, Gwen, it is Vulgar, but they also have this like the three lines under their chin, the raven ash across their eyes, and the one with the torch in their hand sort of like waves at them and then motions to your group and then goes into the procession line to toss his torch as well. And Vulgar, this Goliath, comes over. Gwen, what does Vulgar look like?
He is I guess I'll describe what he looked like when Gwen saw him last. A very tall and like broad-shouldered Goliath. He has more tattoos than skin showing, lots of black lines, and his muscles were just like immaculate. He has on his chest these I don't know if it's exposed, but he has these tattoos that kind of like really accentuate the pecs, and have what look to be I think bear scratches going through them. And he, when Gwen knew him, wore a like black bear skin as part of their clothing, because their warrior name was the Bear Warrior.
So seeing Vulgar now, he's still jacked. He still has the like tattoos that accentuate his muscles, but he seems a lot more somber. And seeing you, you can actually see that like the tattoos that he had along like his upper half are in the process of being filled in. Almost in the same way where you can get like a tattoo that is just like a black band, and some people will get like just like that black band along their arm. It seems like he's in the process of getting that done from shoulders downward. And looking around at the other Goliaths as well, you can see that many of them are just like in these large splotches, or they seem to have raven tattoos that seem to have overtaken the majority of their others. It seems like when they arrive here, they have to undergo a process of foregoing who they were to become who they are now. And Volgar sees you, and there is a look of confusion, and he says, "My daughter, what are you doing? Did you know?" And he points to the chasm.
No. No. We're here on business, but there is a lot that I need to fill you in on. If you have time to speak.
Yes. Please, and you will do well to introduce me to your friends as well. And he begins to lead you down the street as well, until you reach a building that he then kind of pushes open, and he says, and like looking inside, it's a woodworking shop. And there are like statuettes of like Goliath warriors, ravens, animals. Like there's just like trinkets that have been made here, but they don't seem to be going towards like to anything. It looks like it's just something to fill the time. And it doesn't look like this is for one person. Like this looks like this is like a community woodworking area. And he ushers you in and says, and then begins to get a fire going, and then turns to look at you.
These are my companions. This is Coriander, Caelum, and Arjhan. God, it's really good to see you. I'm glad you're okay.
He nods and says, "As okay as I can be, given the circumstances."
Yeah.
You said that you had news.
Yeah, I have a lot of news. How much do you want to know?
Well, I know
about the
that
tribe and stuff.
you overtook
Oh.
as chieftain of the tribe. Chua messaged me. She let
Oh,
me
good.
know
I'm good. I didn't know what I was
most
walking into, so
things.
yeah.
Today is not exactly a high spirits day. I do apologize
Yeah.
about this.
It's fine. I'm sorry about your friend.
Why?
I feel like I needed to say something, and that was what I filled the space with.
He's going to the place where we will all go. All of
Yeah.
us who are here.
Okay. So you know that I'm the chieftain. Check out my cool back tattoos, and she'll pull her shirt up.
He you can see he has had just somber expression upon his face, and then just, it's not bad.
Thank you.
Not
Thank
exactly
you.
the design I would have taken, but you are chieftain now. You get to make the design.
Thank you. It was very pulled from my experiences. I'll just give you a quick rundown of things. Did Shua tell you about Terizo and their baby?
No.
Congratulations, you're a grandpa.
He has conflicted emotions about this.
Yeah, I know.
And Gwen, you can see that he is coming to terms with the fact that he will most likely never get to see his grandchild.
Yeah.
Caelum pulls out a glass orb.
Thank you, Caelum.
Kind of looks like boop. This.
And Volgar takes it into his hands, and he looks at it and just stares and stares, and he has those like milky white Goliath eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And expression unchanging. You can see that the ash on his face begins to run. And
Beautiful. Baby girl.
He just looks up towards you and says, "There's a girl."
Mm-hmm.
And like he says, should anything happen, she would make fine chieftain, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. Don't worry. I'll be training her up to get to that level. That's the goal. Well, okay, so the reason we're here, I know this is probably, like a lot for you right now and difficult because circumstances and stuff, but we need to get to the Shadowfell. I've been doing a lot of traveling and protecting of this world. There's a lot of stuff going on. Have you guys heard about the black worms or Caius?
He shakes his head no.
Okay.
Chua's been slacking.
Well, Chua is busy.
Does it have anything to do with the red spot that was on the moon?
Yes, actually. Went there. Moon's pretty. Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. I've been doing a lot of stuff. Went to the moon. Fought a big space worm. The Earth is round. Who knew?
He shrugs like, it doesn't do me any good here. Like,
yeah, we fought. I met Talos. I died, and I met Talos.
He nods.
And
asks it gives you one of those like, and how was that looks?
Oh, it was meeting Talos, it was amazing. He took my eye. She points to her eye, moves her hair back.
About that.
Yeah, but we need to go to the Shadowfell because something's wrong with the Raven Queen, and we're gonna fix it. And then we need to defeat. We're gonna put Caius, who's like this big god that's trying to like destroy the Earth, and we're gonna put him in a jemmy. I know it's a lot for like, I'm really condensing it down. You say like,
we're gonna put him in a jemmy, and he looks at the like crystal portrait that he has, and then like looks towards Caelum.
Oh, that's not your granddaughter there. That's a picture.
Right.
It'll be different.
But magic.
He like puts the crystalline sphere on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And you see like then he like takes some of the wooden trinkets that he has and like puts them next to it so that way it doesn't roll away. And says, you say that you need to fix the Raven Queen.
Yes, and to explain that better, I'm gonna pass it over to Caelum because Caelum understands it better.
Debatable. You see, going to the Shadowfell would just be, he raises his mask, going home for me. And I've learned some things here on this plane that the Raven Queen as you know her is not who she is supposed to be. And we're going to fix that.
And Volgar squints his eyes towards you. Make a persuasion check. You just told this guy, yeah, your god's not who you think he is. Dork. Like.
Okay, that's 18.
Okay. And he looks at you again. And in the very parental dad way, he looks through you in that moment, like that quick gaze of like, you telling me shit, boy? Like that full, just like quick dad glance. And then he looks towards Gwen as a like confirmation, like, is this true?
Yeah, we cargo fast. We kind of saw her and met her.
How many others know of this?
Chua.
For now, we keep it this way. If you seek entrance into the Queen's domain, it is best to wait for nightfall. The entrance is, many of us believe, a one-way trip.
About many things, but we have found a way to reverse a lot of one-way doors, so to speak.
Yeah, we've also been to a lot of different planes of existence. Caelum went to the plane of negative energy. We've been to the Hells. We've been to the Feywild.
Plane of fire.
Yeah. Quite a few.
And he nods and says, then I hope you are ready for what you experience.
I think we've prepared. Yeah.
And he nods and says, it will be several hours until all have cleared. In the meantime, make yourselves comfortable. No one is working today. They are all going to be holding a wake. In the meantime, steel yourselves. And he stands up and then goes over to a corner, pulls out just a log, sets it down, woodworking tools, sets the gem in front of him, begins taking measurements.
Yeah, this is so much like my real dad. I'm having issues. Man of many words.
Yeah, he is, and he will silently, unless spoken to otherwise, he will spend the time making a small plinth, a small holder for this gem.
I think at some point, if we want to have a conversation, that's fine. But I think at some point, Gwen will walk over to him. Our travels took us north, back to Greenreach. And I met my biological parents again.
And he just like silently keeps working.
And I found out that I have a brother by them. He was pretty sickly, but I gave them some money for my travels. So hopefully they're doing great. I am kind of engaged to a halfling. His name is Philip. He is an adventurer too.
Is he strong?
He's getting there. He is brave, and he is strong of heart. And I believe that with the right training and experience, he will. I may not be as strong as me, let's be honest, but like he'll be strong.
And when you say maybe not as strong as me, Volgar just like you see a small smirk on his face. And then he says, how is the tribe? Chua tells me that it is going well. But I would rather hear it from multiple sources and not just her.
Yeah. We've added a lot of people. We've added a lot of Goliaths. Some of these splinter groups have joined us. There are a lot of babies now. We have started sort of expanding and repopulating.
Chua told me about your inauguration night, yes.
Yeah. Which was always the plan because we wanted, a good, strong tribe, and it was the perfect timing. It's part of the seasons to get that going. And all the den mothers really have their hands full, but there's a lot of them. And we're in a good spot right now. There's not a lot of danger, at least not from other tribes or other invading armies or anything like that. Most of the danger is coming from these goddamn sky creatures and other gods and all that sort of shit. Sorry, stuff.
You can fucking swear in front of me. It's okay.
I know, but it was like this whole thing where it wasn't really respectful growing up, like because I was it's just habit. Yeah, no, things are going great so far. I just need to take care of this whole fucking Caius thing, and then I can go back and just settle in and make sure that I'm running things properly.
And he pauses what he is doing and says, properly. What do you think is the proper way to be chieftain of the tribe?
Well, I've just been feeling like I know that there's a lot of important things that I'm doing right now, but I do feel like I want to be there. I want to be there and like do things for them there,
From what I have heard, you set up a council. They run as a collective. They seek to you for guidance. The number one priority as the chieftain, as my father explained to me, and I wish I had been able to explain to you, is to keep the tribe safe, to keep them alive, no matter what. You are properly running the tribe. Whether or not you want to be there now, or you will be there later, they are your people. Halfling or no.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you for that. That makes me feel better about it.
He just goes back to woodworking. Like
turns away slightly, so like she but yeah, no, I just I'm I mean, is there anything else you want to know about, like, what I've been up to, or like the world while I'm here?
And he pauses again. And he does not make eye contact with you. He looks at the crystal gem. And he says, "What is the name of my granddaughter?" You muted yourself.
I always get it wrong the first try. Harbandad?
Harbinad? The name that you
Harbinad?
made me pronounce?
I know. I read it. I'm like, that can't be right.
Yep.
Harbinad. Harp for short.
And you just hear a and then like woodworking continues.
Is there anything you want me to tell Terizo when I see him next?
And he, when you say that, he says, he pauses and says, tell him not to make the same mistakes I did. If someone challenges you, fight till your dying breath. And he stands up to his full Goliath height, walks away from you momentarily, and atop the wall, you see him reach up and grab two things. And then he comes over to you. And he squats down, so that way he is relatively your height. He is still far taller than you, even at squatting height. However, the first thing that he hands you is a expertly carved wooden bear.
Oh.
The next thing that he hands you is a wooden doll that looks like a Goliath holding a great axe. And he says, for Harpenad.
Of course. Thank you.
And he just, no, you're welcome, just nods like,
right,
obviously
yes.
you should thank me. I'm your dad. And then like,
yeah,
he gets up and walks over to the small wooden plinth that he had made, and then he sets the gem atop it. And
hey, sorry, Dad, you don't have to do that whole jumping thing anytime soon, right?
And he does not make eye contact with you, and he says, we do not know when we will hear the call of the Queen. But if she asks, we will fly. And he sets the gem atop the plinth. Looks at it once more. And then stands up and looks at the rest of the group. I feel like Caelum has been meditating. Hopefully. And, well, because RJ is currently gone. But he looks at your group. Arjhan and Cori, what have you two been up to while Gwen is having this, like, you can tell is a very, like, personal, private conversation, and then this, like, giant dude, like, gives her toys, and then, like, says things, and, like, Gwen is, like, trying not to cry in front of this Goliath. What are you two up to?
I was assuming that everything spoken was in giant.
Yeah.
And so
110%.
Yeah, not my thing. Not a thing I can hear, so I don't know, just going through a whole bunch of scenarios in his head about the Shadowfell, so probably dropping himself into a panic attack.
Oh, buddy.
Which I'm not sure how much he remembers from his Blood Hunter training, since, you know, all that went down.
Yeah. You
I
could
think
make a Arcana check.
21.
21. So the training is still there, thankfully. But what is known about the Shadowfell as a whole is limited. As far as you know, there aren't any hunters that would like, oh, let's just take a fun jaunt to the Shadowfell and then back. It was usually creatures that would emerge from the shadows. From what you understand and what your understanding is based on the Shadowfell, it is a place few have gone. It is a place that even fewer have attempted to map. And the creatures that come from there are not friendly. They are not easy to kill. Most often, thankfully, they are not undead, but they are almost like monstrous. There's like a weird almost not aberration in the sense where they are like from the far realm kind of deal, but there is definitely something that is inherently wrong about the creatures that exist here within the Shadowfell, or that exist in the Shadowfell that you know of anyways.
Okay, I have a leading question.
Sure.
So we've established earlier in the episode that Arjhan does not know a lot of Draconic lore, or at least didn't hear a lot of stories.
Mm-hmm.
With that 21, would he have any idea of potential extra effects that the Shadowfell might have on somebody of a Draconic inheritance?
I would say that with a 21, you know that dragons as a whole are able to connect themselves with an elemental plane one way or the other. However, the Shadowfell wants to draw on that and actively wishes to replace itself with that elemental affinity. Thankfully, as you are, you do not believe that this will be a issue for you. If you were a much bigger boy dragon, a much larger sized lad, it could be a farther problem. But as it stands, you don't believe that it will be an issue. So, Cori, was there anything that you wanted to do while Gwen was having a conversation?
It took us a while to get here, like a couple of weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
At some point, I think during that time, Cori would have reverted back to autumn form.
Okay.
As for the moment, does seem like this is a private moment that Gwen's having. So Cori would have just kind of wandered around and looked at the sculptures that this fella has whittled.
Yeah.
The culture of these people is quite disquieting to her, but she is not one to judge. She, I think, has like some internal thoughts regarding that, and then at some point returns to Arjhan to just try and be a comforting presence to him.
Of course. And then, Caelum, you have been meditating during this time, unless you wish to be doing something else. Okay, sounds good. So at that point, and Cori, like you had said, the air of this village disquieting, and when you are looking at the whittled figurines that are around here, you are used to seeing the things that your dad would make when he was whittling and he was in the process of creating, and you are able to recognize when there is an inherent joy in one's craft, if there is some kind of thing like the emotion behind it. While there is emotion that is behind each of these figures, the majority of that emotion is like on the more like depression, sad sign. Like this is like the blue phase of woodworking for sure. But at this point, Volgar then stands and looks at the four of you and says, enough time has passed. If you wish to go to the Queen's domain, I will take you. And he goes to the door, opens it.
Oh, is this it? Are we going now?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, it's very difficult to follow.
Oh, I'm sorry. Basically just catching my dad up on things and yeah.
And Volgar is just like, door was opened, he just kept walking. Like, and you see that he is walking up towards the place where you guys had initially met him. And exiting this wood place, he leads you up to that broken stone bridge with this large fissure in the ground in front of him that, looking down, leads into absolute darkness. Above, you can hear the flapping of wings, the caws of ravens, as they begin to settle onto the bones that create this large structured arch above this chasm. And Volgar extends an arm down and says, I don't know about your previous travels, if there were doors or if there were openings, passageways that you went to the Shadowfell. There is only one way. You must jump. You must fly.
Okay, we do have the actual ability to fly, so where exactly do we go?
Down. And he just points.
Got it. Okay, cool.
It is a one-way road. No one has ever come back. I don't know if there's something that you look for. You just
right.
go.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
No words, no hesitation. Ezio swan dive.
Caelum, you have to cast this.
And
All
Gwen,
right.
you watch Caelum fall, and he is swallowed by darkness.
Well, it was really good to see you.
And Volgar walks in front of you. He puts his hand on your shoulder. And he says, know that I am proud of you. And he pushes you.
Arjhan!
He reaches.
Okay. Yeah, Arjhan, you can like grab hold of Gwen, and Volgar just like looks at you. There's only one way.
Oh, right, but
Let's just go. Let's go on.
I don't speak giant.
He spoke.
Oh,
He said this in common. Like he can speak common. He just chooses to speak giant.
Okay, well, we go. I don't let Gwen free fall.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks. I really appreciate that. He said he was really proud of me, and I like didn't know how to react to that. He shoved me, and I panicked. But I really appreciate. I'm just gonna, just don't look at me for a little bit. I'm gonna be just over here, just like Gwen is facing it, and you just see these little drops coming up as she's falling.
And the two
All
of
right.
you descend into darkness.
Cori, being the last person left with him, will turn around, look at him, and say, there is life and there is death. We are not meant to linger in between. And she'll just fall backwards.
Okay. And he sort of like, he gives you this nod like, Yeah, I know.
I just picture the only thing that Cori has said to this person, and he's just like, oh, it's like one of those people that just spout out things, you know, like random things, like a fortune cookie.
Feed not the man
All
in
right,
the
buddy.
long robes and wizard hat. Jumps off.
There are some who call
Steven.
him
Yes.
Tim.
Arjhan is holding Gwen
Mm-hmm.
as he descends to an impossibly black void.
Yes, he is. I would like for you to make a wisdom save, I believe, for your stress.
Yes. Save.
Okay.
Save. There we go. 11.
So, Arjhan.
What'd you roll?
A stress check.
No, I'm sorry. What number did you roll?
2.
You son of a bitch. I have bountiful luck. I could have saved it if it was a 1.
So, Arjhan, as you are in the blackness, did you have a way that you would like to describe this as Gwen exits your grip?
Yeah. I think Arjhan is like, I think as this is happening, Arjhan tenses up and like might even like hold, like try to grab onto Gwen too tightly, and even like the claws go in, and as if Gwen reacts to that, which probably I would assume that she does, he would
All right, dude, I'm fine.
he would
Ow,
overcorrect
please.
and just let her go, and then immediately regret that.
And in the darkness, we say, fuck! So, Caelum, you were the first one to enter into this darkness. It is encompassing, surrounds you, and you feel yourself moving through it. But then you've been moving for so long that you find that it's almost like a point of stasis. Like you don't feel the wind going past you. You don't feel the fall. You feel like you are just there. And you feel your feet upon a ground. And standing before you is Father Whitehall. And he looks up at you with the largest smile, in that same calm, collected, pious smile that he had so often. And he says, "My beautiful son."
You are no father of mine. And Caelum casts a guiding bolt in that direction.
Okay. And you see the bolt blast off. You hear the sound of glass shattering. And he appears at a different point and says, "I raised you. Everything that you are is because of me. Your powers, your abilities, all of that. You owe it to me."
That's just the thing. I owe you shit all. Because, yes, you quote unquote raised me. There was no love in that relationship. The people who truly raised me, my foster father, my friends, that's who I owe everything to.
And there is a laughter. And Caelum, you see 7 other versions of Whitehall in front of you, and they are all laughing. And he says, "Regardless of how far you run, regardless of how hard you try and hide, I know who you are. I've always known who you were from the very beginning. So what are you going to do about it?
I'm going to rise, and he's going to cast Fly on himself.
Okay. As you go to cast Fly on yourself, you feel a claw, large in the black scales of not a dragon for those at home, but what looks like a large bird's claw that just pops you in the back and slams you down.
Oof.
And you hear Whitehall say, I was trying to free you. I was trying to make it so this wouldn't happen. And yet here we are, in the same place, with you needing help, you broken child.
Well, he slips away from the grasps using his blessing of the Raven Queen. He'll teleport above this version of Father Whitehall. I guess if it's one thing that I can thank you for, it's teaching me how to punch back. And just gonna saturate this ground in guiding bolts.
Okay. And when the dust settles, there is a fog that seems to roll over the area. And as it blows away, you do not see shattered glass. As your breathing regulates, you see lying in front of you Arjhan, Gwen, Cori, Prescott, Mugwort, and your adopted stepfather. All of them lying, lifeless. And you feel a hand on your back press and say, this is just the test run. And you see that he is next to you.
Caelum does not say anything. He is too focused on the bodies on the floor. If anything, his body shakes.
Caelum, make a wisdom save.
22.
22. So, as you look at these bodies, they begin to melt. They were just snow. Each and every single one of them were falsehoods. And you look over to Father Whitehall of where he would be. But standing where Whitehall was is yourself. It is the owl mask looking directly back at you. And this figure asks, are you able to see through the lies? You know your value. You know your worth. Do not let illusions get the best of you. And they fade. And you are in darkness again. And when you, for a moment, feel your feet on the ground again, the ground is soft. And you are standing in a grassy area. And there is no sun in the sky. There is no moon that hangs above. It is just an oddly lit darkness in a rather strange looking forest. And you feel like you've been to this place before, and you hear the rustling of leaves, and you see a woman. She has dark brown skin. She's wearing almost festive looking clothes for the place that you know this is. And judging based off of what she looks like, this is an Eladrin woman.
Sorry. Shadowfell?
And she says, you've come to the right place. Now I have to ask you, did you bring a ticket? And as she asks you this, we're going to transition away. Gwen, you are falling. And Arjhan has his claws that sink into your arms. And you inform him, this hurts. He lets you go. And you feel yourself falling. And like a rock, you plummet straight down into the depths of darkness, until finally your body finds purchase. And when it does, you hit something hard and you roll, and the ground is soft beneath you and the air smells sweet. Shadowfell seems a little bit different than people had let you know of in the meantime. It seems almost balmy. It seems a little warm. And when you open your eyes, you see that there is a fresh corpse of a Goliath staring directly back at you. And as you stand up and look, the sky is blood red. Before you, almost like a pillar, you see an arm reaching up towards the sky that is made out of hundreds of Goliath corpses, and you recognize all of them. This mound, this arm that reaches into the sky, is none other than your tribe. These are the people that you were sworn to protect, that is just staring, or holding rather, something pointing towards this blood-colored sky. You see Caelum, you see Arjhan, you see Cori, all mixed in with the rest of these individuals. But what really drives the point home, Gwen, is that on top of this arm made of impossible viscera, you see a mage. You see an individual wearing robes with a porcelain mask, holding Philip in one hand above. And you see, with their other arm, extend out and pull back, as it looks like the raw essence of Philip leaves through his eyes and mouth into almost a wispy sphere, as then the mage just crushes it in their worm hands. They then fling Philip's husk down towards you, seeming not to care about the state of this individual as they do so. And as they do so, Gwen, you realize there is so much death here, that everything here happened before you arrived, that there was no way that you could have stopped this. And you watch as Caius extends his worm-like arms above his head, centers them, palms then outward, fingers grasp out, and he begins to smooth his arms one way, either side. And as he does, you see a miles-long fissure appear in the sky, as the space above you is rendered open. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw, please.
Okie dokie. Is this oh god, I have so many things now. Is this against being frightened, or a spell cast with a creature within 5 feet of me?
No.
Good. Okay, cool. Let's go, champ. How's a 7?
For me, excellent. For you, probably not so great.
Not so great.
So, Gwen, as the sky is rendered open, you hear the many voices of Caius, these thousands upon thousands of voices writhing emerge from this sorcerer. And the phrase that you hear directed towards this sickening fissure is, "Awaken, dear sister, you dream of sleep no more." And from this fissure, what you had thought would be worms, and in a way, God, you wish it was worms, you see what looks like a serpent of impossible length begin writhing down out and onto the plain. And Gwen, you are a Goliath fighter. You have fought with your spirits before, and in this moment you summon forth as many of them as you possibly can. And as this impossible serpent with scales blacker than night, deeper than the space between stars, opens its maw, and inside you do not see a creature that has the ability to consume. You see the end of everything, and it swallows every Goliath spirit that you summon forth in the blink of an instant. And you get the sensation, you get the feeling that there could have been a way to stop this, but there won't be. There never will be. And this serpent closes its mouth onto you. You find yourself in darkness, and that is when you find yourself on a sogging, grassy field. And as you look around, you can see that there are hundreds of burial mounds. And your eyes fix on a point of light, roughly about 50 feet ahead of you, as you hear what sounds like a as you watch a Goliath gravedigger filling in a brand new burial mound. Gwen, you gain the following flaw. And you will, while you remain in the Shadowfell under these conditions. You and everyone you know will all die here. Your story will never be told again when you lie beneath the soil of the gloom.
Scoliosis.
Arjhan, you are next in line. So, you have fallen into this darkness. Gwen, you have dropped. And as you try and reach out and grab back at her, you find nothing. And in this darkness, Tarlayan's son, Yodaris, Harold, Arjhan. So many titles, so many names. But are they really you? And this idea that comes to you is partially from finding the different versions of yourself, but you aren't sure which one of yourself this is. But you can feel stone beneath your feet. It is cold, and it is damp, and it smells of subterranean mildew. And when your eyes adjust, you are in a crypt. a crypt that you have been in before, mind you. But upon each of the seemingly endless stone coffins placed within the walls of this crypt, you see that every single one has every name that has been bestowed upon you, with one exception. There is an unmarked coffin resting directly in front of you, lid open, to show the bitter emptiness within. Your breathing begins to hasten as you look down in this dark and empty portal, and you hear something towards the exit, towards where you know that there is a stairwell, that, again, you have been at this place before. And the stairwell leads outside, and as you begin to turn and look, you hear a familiar voice. And that voice says, "I vowed that I wouldn't let myself be used for someone else's gain again." And you see a wrought iron gate to the crypt close, the familiar silhouette of a tiefling who you once played dragon chess with quite frequently. And she begins to walk away. Before you can call out to her, though, you feel arms that had embraced you before drape themselves around your collar and pull you back into the coffin. The coffin lid closes, and you can feel a familiar viscosity beginning to pool up from behind you inside of this coffin as the sickening smell of iron continues to fill. As blood begins to fill this coffin, you hear a scraping sound, and looking towards the base of your stone prison, you see a draconic script beginning to glow a carmine yellow in the same letterhead as all the others. I need you to make a wisdom save.
So, interesting thing to note is that my wisdom modifier is +9. I am it's definitely suffering from the effects of stress. So that would be a +1 or a -1 to that roll. I rolled a 2,
Oh, buddy.
so 10.
Okay. So with your 10, inside of this coffin filled with blood, separated from your party members, finding you feel yourself floating. And then you reach out towards the topmost layer, this lid, as you have before, that did not budge, but when you go to move a second time, it is no longer there. And the smell of iron isn't there. It is water. It is deep, brackish water. And as you begin to scramble your way out of this area that you have found yourself in, you come head up out of a body of water. And as you look around, you can see that there is what looks like a human fisherman that's sitting along a bank that just sort of like tilts their head and looks at you and calls out and asks if you need any assistance. However, Arjhan, you have gained the following flaw. Everyone is out to use you for their own ends. Can you really trust them?
No.
Cori.
No.
You like, oh, what's the worst that could happen? And just like tumble backwards towards the Shadowfell. What a great and glorious time this was. Everyone's having a great time. Cori, as you fall into the darkness, you are alone. You are entirely, utterly alone. Normally, you feel a slight connection to Rythe, a connection to the Feywild, or to the believers of the Elven Sun, or to your friends. Even in the darkness, you have felt Shar's presence, but this isn't darkness. This is nothingness, emptiness, strictly void. which is what makes the sensation upon your skin all the more horrible. A feathered texture at first, quickly followed by a pinching and tearing sensation. There must be thousands of them. Hungry, angry, and looking for their first scrap of sustenance in ages. These feathered creatures peck and tear at your body as you lose your extremities to the hunger of the void until one of these sources of pain finds the precious part of your person and begins to pull. If you were a crisp apple, and then this creature is the knife that in a spiraling motion begins to expose the highly sought after insides. And it is over in an instant. Everything that you were has been splayed and pulled and torn away, but still you feel her drawing close. You can feel that same clawed hand reach into the only thing left behind, your spirit, and begin scraping out her prizes. One by one, she takes your victories, your warm nights, your brightest moments, until all that remains are the moments that you yourself would have left behind. Your lies, your deceit, your inability to look one of your dearest friends in the eye and tell him what you did was worth it. I need you to make a charisma save.
It's a natural 20 for a 36.
Okay, someone had to succeed on this. Yes. Caelum. Knights in the Courtyard, that. Among the pieces of you that were left, there is still one thing that the void cannot take from you. An artery that, if struck, would spill with the force of a flash flood that even when in the throes of the afterlife, you never gave up on. The idea that no one is beyond redemption. You see the icy visage of Venru melt into Cypress's training on his training on his own to become the Caelum of the Endless Thaw. You see the face of Zarina, trapped in the echo of the Raven Queen, pleading for help, once again standing proud before her people. And you see yourself and your friends at the center of it all. And from that belief, you feel yourself become light. In the middle of your own faults, in the center of your own doubts, you feel the pieces that were taken from you grow anew and begin to restore themselves as your body reforms. You find yourself in an open field along the side of a road. There is fog abound. It is dark. But the area around you is glowing with a vibrance that has not been seen in this land in as long as it has been in existence. And as the four of you find yourselves in 4 different locations of the Shadowfell, that is where we are going to call it for tonight's session. So, with that, I'd like to say thank you to everybody who decided to stop by and join us for this wonderful game. Guys, we found a baby earlier. Wasn't that fun? There was a baby. We talked to Gwen's dad.
Yeah. I worked out some issues there.
There was a baby. Eggy McEggwitches, am I right? RJ, where can we find you?
Stop trying to play it off. Stop trying to play it off.
Protect the baby bacon. Hey, everybody. I'm RJ, and you can catch me at RJustice282 on Twitter and Twitch, where I tweet about the nerdy things in my life and sometimes stream with my friends. So, we've got Mondays here. Caelum. Thursdays, GGK for some good society. Back over at GGK on Saturday, where we do alternating a Mist campaign and also our Fate campaign, Star Power. This one. Finally, Sundays over at Hobgoblin's channel in the AM, where I am also just really tired of everything. Anyway. 24th, I'll be over at LB's channel on Sunday for masks, and that's it. DenakeUnit.com.
My son.
Yes. Hello, everybody. I'm LBHackEmUp. You can find me at LBHackEmUp on the Twitters and the Twitches. Next time I'm going to be live is on my channel tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock, playing some Dead by Daylight. That's EST. We are going to be playing some Killer and probably have a guest in the afternoon, as per usual. And then I'll be on GGK. We're doing our Heroes, our mask game. Which will be super fun. I get to play Sabrina. She is the sweetest bean. And then on, let's see, I won't be streaming anything until Friday, where Lauren and I will be playing through. I think we're going to do At Dead of Night this week. And then after that on, oh no, I'm going to be off on Sunday this week. So there will be no Sunday night game and I will not be on GGK for Sunday. So yeah, but I will be back here on Monday, just not here. Where will I be? Tune in to find out. TodayKeener.com.
Oi! I'm Cyber. You can find me at CyberWolf1 on Twitter and Twitch, and on YouTube. I've actually been doing stuff with YouTube. So there's been 2 like 30-45 minute campaign diaries of me talking about prepping and running the Frozen Sick adventure from the Explorer's Guide to Wildmount, and how I'm prepping to segue that into our Rhyme with Frostmaiden campaign. So if you want to hear me talk about D&D for like 30 minutes just monologuing, go check that out. But don't tell my players about it. Shh, it's a secret. Yeah. But on my YouTube or on my Twitch right now, I'm playing through Metroid Dread. We got more than halfway through, and we will finish it this weekend. I've already 100%ed the game, though, casually. It's very good. It's very fun. Wish that it was a little bit more accessible and didn't make my hands absolutely feel awful. RPG stuff. I am here on Mondays. I am on High Shelf Gaming. Or no, I'm sorry. They did a name change. Twitch.tv/High Shelf Collective. Running Urban Shadows, Port Seville, a spicy Louisiana take on, urban horror fantasy. It's good soup. I think that's it. DanaeKeener.com.
Speaking of DanaeKeener.com, hi everybody, I'm Danae Keener. You can find me at DanaeKeener.com. I do nerdy drawings mostly related to D&D and a lot of things on this channel. You can also find me at Danae Keener on Twitter. I am still there doing nerdy drawings, and you can also see the pinned tweet that says all of the things that I'm up to, like the schedule, like on Mondays and Sundays, how I'm here doing things, being Cori and running Rhyme of the Frostmaiden and all of those things. And now Steven's having a heckin' chuckle, so I think I'm just gonna go, DanaeKeener.com.
Cyber, that's a different podcast. Hello, everybody. If you made it this far, you probably already know who I am. But if you don't, hey, Acorns, what's up? It's me, your buddy, your pal, your friend, the Indoor Adventurer, the showrunner here at twitch.tv/Indoor Adventures. We usually like this on Monday and Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, as well as on Sundays at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If this is your first time joining us, you can go to youtube.com/Indoor Adventures to check up on all of the VODs of each of the games that we have played up until this point, or you can go towards anywhere audio casts are made available for free. You can find us there under the same moniker, so like Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor. We're mostly through Anchor, so wherever Anchor distributes, that is where you will find us. Other than that, we are going to be going into our Patreon-supported after show called Nights in the Courtyard, where we answer questions not only from the community, but also from each other. And oh boy, I feel like we got a doozy on our hands tonight, so I am very excited. But we are going to try and be back shortly for that one. We're doing it off the air. We always do. But again, thank you to everybody who decided to stop on by. Thank you to these incredible players for putting up with my bullshit once again this week. And we'll see all of you guys next time. All right, everybody. Bye-bye!